Now, in a deal that came down to the wire, Israel and Hamas agreed to extend their ceasefire by 5 days. But as news of an agreement was coming through, so too were reports of fresh firing. Israel launched airstrikes in what it said was retaliation for a number of rockets fired from Gaza. Hamas has denied launching any rockets from its territory. Well, for more on the truce negotiations, we're joined by Dr. Kevin Grisham from California State University. He's the director at the Center for Islamic and Middle Eastern Studies. A warm welcome to the programme. How serious are those breaches of the ceasefire just before the next one was renewed?
The breaches are very, very important because it really impedes the long-term possibilities of more permanent ceasefire, more permanent truce talks.
And who would you say might have been responsible? I mean, Hamas is denying that it fired rockets just hours before the new truce was renewed. Were these dissident groups?
More than likely, it was probably dissident groups. We can't be sure, but we know that when peace negotiations occur in almost any conflict, you have what we refer to as spoilers will come in to actually purposely avert permanent truce talks.
And what are the chances of those spoilers spoiling the negotiations completely?
Well, I think it's very, very possible that they could actually end up hurting the long-term possibilities of more permanent peace and possibly even potentially hurting short-term solutions to addressing the humanitarian crisis that's developed in Gaza itself.
And what do you think needs to happen for those negotiations to succeed?
Well, one of the biggest incompatibilities in this conflict, or the center of this conflict, is really about the issue of security and how each side sees its security. And so what we have to be able to do is come to some sort of agreement on a more joint definition for both parties of what they mean by security of their own people.
And do you sense there is a willingness at this stage, given what's happened over the past few weeks, there is that willingness to pursue a proper long-term solution? Or are we going to see a return to conflict, perhaps not tomorrow, but in the months ahead?
Well, your guess is best as mine, but I would hope that the more pragmatic members in both parties, both in the Israeli government as well as the ones on the Hamas side who want to see more long-term solutions for their people, would actually, their voices would more long-term, hopefully, in these peace negotiations.
Dr. Grisham, many thanks for joining us today. That's Dr. Kevin Grisham from California State University.